Hell's Paradise is actually really fucking good. I did not know this anime came out in 2023. It's been 2 years since this anime is released, and I cannot believe I hopped on the train way too late. Good thing for me is that season 2 should be coming out very soon. Let's talk about it. Hell's Paradise is an anime that I thought was going to be another Demon Slayer or Naruto, ninja and swords, but I was completely wrong and took me by surprise. This anime has a lot of different themes going on in it that I personally really enjoyed because it gets the viewer thinking. At least it got me thinking about a lot of things as I was watching this show. Spoiler warning, because I'm going to be talking about all of season 1 for Hell's Paradise in this video. You have been warned. The first thing I want to talk about in this anime is the main character, Gabimaru. His character to me is very, very interesting because of who he is and how he carries himself. Let me explain. Gabimaru is a shinobi, and he is a ruthless one at that, and is known for being titled and named Gabimaru the Hollow, showing that he has no feelings, no empathy, no sympathy for anybody in the world. He just kills and kills and kills, and people fear him and people know him for his skill. And I think it's very good to see our main character start off like this, because within the first couple of episodes, we actually see him change. We see him slowly changing because of the person he meets in the first episode. And that person's name is Sagi. Sagi is one of the main characters in the show. Sagi's character is a very, very important role for Gabimaru and his character growth in the first couple of episodes and this entire season. But it kind of sucks because at the end of season 1, he does not remember anything or anyone or where he is. All he knows is that he's the greatest, one of the greatest shinobi that has lived from his hometown. I forgot the name of his hometown. I want to talk about Stoicism. Stoicism is a type of philosophy where you keep everything to yourself. So if something bad happens to you, you don't crumble. If something good happens to you, you don't crumble. In a way, you suppress your emotions, and that perfectly describes Gabimaru because his name, the Hollow. He suppresses his emotions. He has absolutely no emotions, and that's what Stoicism is. Now, Stoicism can be really toxic because in a way, you're just suppressing your emotions, not really feeling or knowing what you're feeling, and just completely ignoring them. And that can really be a bad thing because it can lead to you exploding, doing something stupid, because it's too much. The world can be too much at times and you just explode. And I love the fact that we see Gabimaru's stoicism kind of slowly etching off, getting cut off, separating himself from this stoicism, because it shows that our main character does have feelings, he does care. Even though he's this bad guy who's killed a lot of people, Sagi is an Aisaman who is in charge of looking over Gabimaru. From the first episode, Sagi can tell that Gabimaru is putting up a mask and is not really being himself, and she can sense that from the beginning. Later, we see this cracks. So, what is Hell's Paradise? Hell's Paradise is an anime where they get the world's worst criminals, send them to this paradise island. They will be pardoned of their crimes if they return this thing called the elixir of life, which grants immortality. Sounds really fucking cool because you get these bandits going to achieve something or get something that seems practically impossible to exist, and you get these Asamon people who have to make sure they don't kill anyone or get out of hand. So that's exactly what happens. Sagi recruits Gabimaru and tells him he has a purpose in life, that he doesn't want to die, because Gabimaru goes on with this facade in his mind that he does want to die, but he doesn't. And in episode 2 and 3, we really see Gabimaru break those shackles off of himself, and he realizes he does feel, he does have emotions. He's human. Of course you're supposed to have emotions and care for people, because Gabimaru can see that Sagi is actually a good person, and Sagi can also recognize that Gabimaru may be this crime full of sin, but he's also somehow a good person. And that's one of the main points that I really like in this show, that Gabimaru, the main character, lets go of this stoicism from the get-go. And in a place where you would think stoicism is most important in wanting to survive by yourself, because there are so many factors on this island that can kill you. In this island, we see there are these giant titan-like monsters that are formed and fused with animals that try and kill our main characters, and then later we find out there's more, that there's Tenzin and Doichi. In this island, you would expect that hard grit, ferociousness of not caring or feeling, just trying to survive would be the most important time you would want to use that stoicism, but it's not. It's actually the complete opposite. And towards the end of the season, we really see our characters recognizing that no matter if you're a criminal or Asamon, it does not matter, because if you don't work together, you're gonna fucking die on this island. And that is something that I really, really enjoy about the show, because these two types of people have to put their histories aside, their stories aside, their roles aside, and have to come together and help each other out. So the fact that Gabimaru removes that stoicism slowly but surely, allowing them to feel and have empathy for others and care for others, is huge to me. The second one I want to talk about, you may be saying is woke or whatever. I don't really fucking care about that term or whatever it is, but I know I really enjoy this anime because it has a lot of philosophy in this story, and we just went over stoicism. I had a class in college where it was all about philosophy, and we had this discussion with people, and the girls in that class were saying that sometimes they felt afraid to be themselves in the world where they're told they have to do this, told they have to do that, or when they want to do something themselves, the world tells them you can't be doing that, you're a woman. There's also that in this story with Sagi. So let me explain. Sagi is a Asamon, someone who trains by the sword and is meant to kill criminals as their job, when she could have picked having a different lifestyle in terms of just cleaning, making food, and etc. But she chose to be an Asamon because that's what she wanted to do. That's what she felt like her life was going towards. And in one of the first episodes, we also see Sagi gets confronted by one of her peers and says, you shouldn't be doing that, you're a woman. Because he actually brings that up, what I just talked about, where she could have just been someone in the house cleaning and cooking, but she decided like, no, I want to do this with my life. And I think it's perfect and beautiful for Sagi because she's someone that struggles to have confidence. And sadly, in this episode, her peer actually dies. But when he dies, you can kind of tell he gives her his, I wouldn't say blessing, because he shouldn't have to give her a blessing to be herself and what she wants to be. But he kind of calms down and realizes that he's been a fool. She has a feminine side to her, she has a masculine side to her, like all of us do. And that she combines both of them gracefully. She has that warrior side and that caretaking side, which I really loved, because this peer of hers wasn't really an asshole, but he was kind of, you know, being kind of annoying with her and saying, you're a girl, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. But as he's passing away, you can tell she still cares for him, even though he was being a complete dick, and he acknowledges that he was being a dick. But it's amazing because you see that he accepts her. He accepts her for who she is. Sadly, he passes away, but that's a big thing for Sagi, because on this island, you need any little bit of confidence, acceptance to survive all this fucked up shit. Those are the two main themes that I really loved from the story that I picked up on so far, which is stoicism being kind of toxic, and then this misogynistic thing still happening where there's gender roles and you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that, but one of the characters accepts the person for who she is and what she wants to do, and it's all great. Let's actually talk about the story and what I really enjoy about this story, because it's very compelling. This story involves a lot of religion stuff, immortal beings, and this island that has been alive for centuries and centuries. And we see that there used to be villages on this island, but these people praise these gods, the Tenzin, but they were fooling them all along. And the Tenzin, we don't know their origin much yet, but we do know there's some sort of elixir of life because they can regenerate. And we see our main characters fight quite a bit of them and are able to actually take down one of the Tenzin at the end of season 1, which is an amazing fight. The story is very interesting because one of the main characters that's an Isamon is Senta. Senta's actually one of my favorite characters, and it was very, very depressing when he passed away at the end. I actually kind of shed a tear because Senta was one of the ones that wasn't the strongest in terms of physical strength, but he was certainly one of the most intelligent characters in the show and was able to guide the main group of characters throughout this entire chaos in this paradise island. That's why I really like this show, because it has immortal beings that use religion to help themselves and construct all these different religions into one to help themselves. They deceive people for who knows how many hundreds of years. They've been alive for thousands of years, and they realize that these batch of humans that are on this island now are different from the rest, and they're terrified of them. And they're fucking annoying as hell. Like, they're just really bad characters from what we've seen so far, and it makes the story very interesting because our characters are just human, or so we think, or so we know, because apparently they might be superhuman, but that's something that we have no idea yet of. There's no confirmation of what these characters are because they are posing a threat to these immortal beings. But the story itself is very fresh, very unique. I really like this story. I would say I finished season 1 in like 2 days, I would say, but I did take like a week and a half break because I got really busy with stuff. But I did finish this story in such a fast time because I really enjoyed it, and it's such a great show. I think it doesn't start off slow, but it certainly picks up really fast once you start seeing the characters, their abilities, the stakes that they're in, and just how all the characters in the show have their own role and stand out in their own way. And you end up caring for most of the characters in the show, which is very hard when you have a big cast of characters, in my opinion. That's gonna be the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Watch Hell's Paradise, one of my favorite anime that I've seen this year. I can't believe it came out 2 years ago, and I saw it on my Netflix many times, but I just never clicked on it. So go watch it. I hope you enjoy. If you watched the video all the way through, thank you so much for watching. We are close to 1,000 subscribers, so make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, comment your thoughts on Hell's Paradise, and see you next one, guys. Have a great day. Peace, everybody.